Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy Real Talk Live Sports, aka the Ghetto Stephen A. Man, and we back.
At it. Manny PACQUIAO, Errol SPENCE. Fantastic fight, fantastic competitors. As we all watch and follow this journey, man, from both fantastic competitors, man, forging their bodies, man. This is going to be a super explosive fight. Manny PACQUIAO. Don't even want to say Manny name no more. Just call Manny the legend. You know what I mean? When you say legend, you know you talk about Manny. You know what I mean? Errol the True Spence, carving his way, making his own legacy in the sport of boxing and also the welterweight division. But for how long? But that's a different video. We want to talk about, can Manny PACQUIAO take Errol Spence's power? We know how strong Errol Spence is. He has the youth. He does have strength. He's an excellent boxer. He has the range. He has the height. And that's the one factor everybody comes back to. Errol's just too big, too strong. They said the same thing about Keith Thurman. Look at Keith Thurman after the Manny PACQUIAO fight. You know what I'm saying? Manny PACQUIAO, he took Keith Thurman's best shots. Will he be able to take Errol Spence's best shots? Because if he can, and if he does, Manny PACQUIAO wins this fight. We already know that Errol Spence has a phenomenal jab, but he is not, this is Manny PACQUIAO, going to stand in front of Errol Spence all night for Errol to keep Manny at bay with that jab. No. Manny is too super explosive. He moves too much. So, whether Errol wants to or not, Manny's going to move Errol where he wants him to be. That's the dangerous part. Now, if Errol Spence can offset Manny's movements, which we all want to see if he can do that and pull that off. And if he can neutralize Manny PACQUIAO's movement and let's just say as far as his ability, let's just say his volume punching, not going to be able to get away from Manny PACQUIAO's speed. You're not. But can you kind of disrupt his punch output and his mobility? Yes. But Errol Spence is going to have to move as well as block and parry. He's an excellent parrying puncher. But we haven't seen him do that on the move, while he's moving and while he's turning. Because that's how it's going to be. Manny PACQUIAO, in order to really stave Manny PACQUIAO off, you're going to have to use your feet and your hands at the same time. So as you're in high guard blocking, at the same time, you're going to have to be able to move back, left, or right. And that's how Keith Thurman got caught where they fought. But Keith Thurman made the mistake of not keeping his hands up. You know what I mean? He just tried to move away from PACQUIAO. He didn't think that Manny PACQUIAO can close that range that quick. But don't get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? Manny PACQUIAO, as I said, still super explosive. His footwork is still, let me say it again, is still quick. We seen what Manny PACQUIAO did to Thurman. After that fight, Manny PACQUIAO, he was also hurt because I believe he received like some type of injury to his eye because he got scratched by Thurman's gloves or something like that. But for the most part, after the fight, Manny PACQUIAO did give Keith Thurman props. He said he's very young. He said he's very strong. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Keith Thurman, he caught Manny PACQUIAO with the Marquez shot. And guess what? Manny ate it. You know what I'm saying? Manny ate that shot. The shot to put Manny to sleep. Manny ate that shot from Keith Thurman. Now, can Manny PACQUIAO take that shot from Errol Spence? That is the question. Because Manny PACQUIAO, if he keeps this fight in the middle of the ring, or let's just say off of the ropes, because that's when it's truly going to get dangerous for Manny PACQUIAO, when he is on the ropes. And Errol does some of his best work on the ropes. So it doesn't matter if you're the smaller fighter, the bigger fighter, your equal fighter as far as height. It doesn't matter. Once Errol Spence gets you on the ropes, he goes to work. That's a part of his game plan, whether it's spoken or not. Once Errol Spence gets his opponent on the ropes, he works him. Manny PACQUIAO has been a champion in 4 different decades. Fact number 1. And being as though it is still 2020 or 2021, I don't know what's going on with the whole WBA situation. You see Manny PACQUIAO still has the WBA belt, still taking pictures with it. He had the WBA belt at the Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, you know what I'm saying, first press conference. We all don't know what's going on. Ugas may have the quote unquote title to say, yes, he's WBA champion, but I guess Manny Pacquiao, for some reason and somehow, he still has that championship status. Doesn't matter, he deserves it, in my opinion. But that's irrelevant because he's fighting for, prospectively, the WBC and IBF belt, which Errol Spence, current unified champion, holds. So if he's able to beat Errol Spence, he's now going to become champion yet again. Now he's the WBC champion, IBF champion, and I guess we'll figure how this WBA situation will work out. And let's just say, for argument's sake, just for right now for the video, because it sounds pretty, he's the WBC, IBF, and WBA. Because for some reason, if they make Manny Pacquiao fight Ugas for the WBA, although that would be an interesting fight, I still like Manny in that fight over Ugas. Although Ugas is no slouch, he gave Sean Porter a hell of a fight and arguably could have walked away with that victory. But fact number 2, Manny Pacquiao, nobody has ever been a lineal champion in 5 different divisions. Nobody has ever done that. You hear Tyson Fury bragging about it all the time. He was just a lineal champion in 1 division, which is the heavyweight division. Manny Pacquiao has been a lineal champion in the welterweight division, also the junior welterweight division, the super featherweight division, the featherweight division, and the flyweight division. And to be honest with you, the only reason why Pacquiao probably wasn't a lineal champion in 6 to 7, because bantamweight, he basically was growing too fast. That's the only reason why, in my opinion, Manny Pacquiao didn't stick around in some of the lower weight classes and clear them out as well. You know what I mean? But 5 different divisions, Manny Pacquiao has been a lineal champion. Nobody has ever done that in boxing. And that's only a series of 2 accolades for Manny Pacquiao. The list is far greater. But this isn't a video about Manny Pacquiao's accolades. This is a video talking about, can he take basically Spence's power and punishment? Because once Spence gets people in trouble, that's when he starts to systematically break them down. And that usually starts with him chopping at the body. And I do believe he's going to get some shots in. If you see Manny Pacquiao right now, he's training like an animal. And one of the things that he's beasting out at is that core, doing those sit-ups. Manny Pacquiao is already doing 1,300 sit-ups when he does camp. But now he's focusing a little bit more attention on that midsection, you know what I mean? So they probably bumped it up from 1,300 to 1,400 sit-ups, making sure that if he gets caught, that he can take that blow. Now, as far as punishment, I don't think that Manny Pacquiao will put himself in a position where he's going to be punished. He moves too much. The only way that I could see Manny Pacquiao's mobility being hindered or inoperable, if he gets hurt or something like that. Other than that, Manny Pacquiao's legs are generally fresh throughout the fight, which is also going to be trouble for Spence. But Spence, if he catches Manny Pacquiao with that left hand like he caught Sean Porter, how will Manny Pacquiao fare? The only reason why Sean Porter was able to eat that shot, he was in terrific shape. His legs was totally underneath him. Manny Pacquiao, for this fight, you see them when they're training. That's also something that's being worked on and enhanced and strengthened. When you look at Manny Pacquiao's legs and calves, you think, damn, how can his legs get any stronger? That's also should scare you. Manny Pacquiao is taking this camp to another level. He's trained in the Philippines, came back to the States, and now he's finishing out his training in the States. Manny Pacquiao was already decent shape once he was in the Philippines, but once he came to LA and he got back with Freddie Roach and he's been in the Wild Card Gym, and you see the video, shout out to Ellie Sack back every morning, man, running, you know what I'm saying, 5 to 10 miles, still doing all types of drills out there with the people. Y'all know Manny's the people's champ, you know what I'm saying, the Filipino Rocky. And he still goes back to camp, to the gym, and he has to spar and still has to continue his training. And shout out also to Team Pacquiao, because the word is they didn't have any footage, but the word is, shout out again to Ellie Sekback, that Manny Pacquiao had a phenomenal day in camp. He was actually, the word used, punishing dudes. You know what I mean? Just imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Manny Pacquiao just saying, and it's 10 guys up. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see that. But we're going to have our chance. Once we see Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao hop in that ring, we're going to see everything come together, because that's why you beat yourself up in the gym and in training. So when you get to the fight, it's easy. A lot of fighters say it. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson, they said it. You know what I mean? The hardest part about training camp is sparring. Really putting in that work. You know what I'm saying? Those wars that you go through in sparring. You know what I'm saying? That's really what put miles on fighters. But at this state of the game, Manny Pacquiao, in my opinion, I believe that he is sparring, that he should spar, but I don't believe he has to basically spar 2-3 days out the week. You know what I'm saying? This is another day at the office for Manny. He does have to work on things, but you can work on those things. You don't necessarily have to spar. Manny Pacquiao's ring IQ and boxing IQ in general is up there with Floyd. So Manny Pacquiao can compute whatever you tell him. You know what I mean? They can get in there and he can execute. He doesn't really have to work on certain things. Manny Pacquiao knows how his body works, and he knows what to do to put his body in the right position to make something work. You know what I mean? So moving forward, fight fans, can Manny Pacquiao take Errol Spence's power? If he can, this fight not only becomes more interesting, but it kind of puts Manny Pacquiao's name just a little bit higher as far as margins, a little bit higher than Errol Spence. Because if he can take Errol Spence's power, that's the most scary attribute about Errol Spence coming into this fight, as his power. After that, it's his jab and his ring IQ. So if Manny Pacquiao can get past his power, and we all know with his movement, he can circumvent some of the jab output that Errol Spence will be doing. Manny Pacquiao is starting to look different in this fight. I'm not necessarily a betting man, so I can't talk about odds. But once you start to look at things, you really start to kind of look beyond the paper. This fight isn't as far as people think it is. A lot of people think that Errol Spence is up here. It's going to be easy. He's a young guy. He's stronger. This, that, and the third. And they write Manny off. But when you talk to veterans, especially veteran trainers and coaches, like you just heard Ronnie Shields say, you know what I'm saying? Coach of Charlo, you just heard him say, don't be surprised if Manny Pacquiao get in there and beat Spence. Don't be surprised. You know what I'm saying? So it's cool that we love Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao, but both competitors are phenomenal. So we should not underestimate what Errol Spence brings to the table, and we shouldn't underestimate what Manny Pacquiao brings to the table. Because as I said, I hasn't been in a ring with anybody like Pacquiao, but Pacquiao has faced them all. Errol Spence is just a younger version of a fighter that Manny Pacquiao has fought before. That's how much experience that Manny Pacquiao has in the game at this state of his career. So, August 21st, who shall be victorious? Because at this point, I honestly can't say it's going to be Manny Pacquiao. I can't say it's going to be Errol Spence. But does Errol Spence have the tools to beat Manny Pacquiao? Of course he does. Does Manny Pacquiao still have the tools to take out Errol Spence? Of course he does. So who game plan will be better? Who will physically execute that game plan better? We shall see August 21st.
Fight fans, tune in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave your comments below. Come back, check your boy out on the next one. Peace.